Hey, welcome back, everyone. Life has a funny way of always throwing us curveballs. The exact moment when you think you've got things all dialed in, you've got your plan. But then the next thing, something happens, something shifts, policies change, opportunities come our way, timelines get moved up, or worse, the rug just gets pulled right out from underneath us. The transition out of uniform doesn't always happen on a straight line. It's more like walking a tightrope, with the wind constantly changing directions. Here's the thing, though. It's not about eliminating pressure, because you can't. Pressure's always going to be there. What matters is how you carry it, how you prepare for it, and how you adapt when things don't go the way that you thought they would. That's what separates the people who stumble through transition from the ones who thrive in it. It's all about controlling what you can, letting go of what you can't, and setting yourself up so that when life throws the inevitable curveball, you're prepared to pivot. Because when everything around you feels unstable, stability has to come from inside you. So with that, let's get into round 87 of the tactical transition tips. This time the topic is stay flexible under pressure. For the close range group, those of you looking at your transition right away or you're less than a year out, have micro routines to combat the chaos. Small daily actions create clarity when everything else feels unpredictable. For the medium range group, those of you looking at your transition in 5 years or so, stress test your transition strategy. By challenging your plan today, it'll be stronger when you need it most. And for the long range group, those of you just starting your careers, you've got at least a decade before your transition. Build your reputation before you need it. The credibility you stack today becomes the currency you'll spend later. Close range group. Actually, for everybody, real quick. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this section, I've got a newsletter with information and tips to help you plan and prepare for your transition. Go to the show notes for a link to sign up. All right, that's it. Let's get going with the episode. Again, close range group. You're staring at your transition. Maybe it's 6 months away, maybe it's a year. Regardless, you're feeling the weight. Every time you think about it, the stress ticks up just a little. Am I right? Transition feels chaotic because for the first time in a long time, you're not operating inside of a system that tells you exactly what to do. No one's giving you the mission briefing. There's no sergeant or team leader laying out the next steps. It's all on you. And you can be honest, that's got to be a little terrifying. But here's the good news. Control starts small. You can't control the whole picture yet, but you can control the pieces of it. That's where micro routines come in. Think of them as your personal anchor points. When the rest of the world feels unpredictable, these are the things you do consistently and deliberately to keep yourself grounded. Small, intentional actions that set the tone for your day and create momentum when everything else feels like it's spinning. Morning intentions versus morning reactions. Most of us roll out of bed and get hit with the noise. Emails, text messages, our family. You know, all the things you wish would wait until that first cup of coffee. That first 10 minutes sets the tone for the whole day. And if you start in chaos, you're likely going to stay there. Here's what I want you to do instead. Before you dive into all that, set your intention. Take 10 minutes, sit down with a notebook, grab that cup of coffee, and have a little quiet. Write down the top 2 or 3 things that actually matter today, not 20, not fix everything about my life, just the top priorities that move the ball forward. This isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things first. If you can win your mornings, you can win your transition. I'd recommend starting a transition journal. Each day, write 1 line about what today's immediate objective is and 1 line about your ultimate goal. It forces you to see the connection between what you're doing today and where you want to land tomorrow. Hey, real quick, let's talk surfing and bourbon. The Pendleton Surf Club's all-military surf contest is happening October 9th through the 12th at Church Surf Break on Camp Pendleton. Whether you ride a longboard or a shortboard, if you're active duty, a veteran, or a military spouse, this is your chance to paddle out, compete, and connect. It's 4 days of nonstop action, pro-level judging, raffles, giveaways, and shared stoke with your crew on the sand. Your registration includes meals, contest swag, and the chance to take home the trophy. Spots are limited, and registration closes October 1st, so secure your place now at pendletonsurfclub.com. And for those whose ears perked up when I said bourbon, Pendleton Surf Club has released Board Shack Bourbon, crafted to celebrate the stories, the service, and the surf. Every penny from every bottle sold funds the event and supports the surfers. So even if you don't surf, you can support the event and enjoy some good bourbon. Grab your board, get your bottle, and help give back to military members and veterans. Go check out pendletonsurfclub.com. Control your inputs, or they'll control you. As you get closer to your exit, the flood of information is going to get overwhelming, if it's not already. Every day there's going to be a new post about the best resume hack, or a must-attend job fair. You're going to get invited to 15 different networking groups. You can easily scroll through endless transition forums. And before you know it, your head's on fire, and you haven't actually done anything. So you need to get ruthless about information control. Pick a few trusted sources and shut out the rest. You know what works for you. That one podcast, that one job resource point, that one professional network. That's it. Because our problem is consuming feels productive, but it's not. You don't need 400 strategies. You need a few that actually fit your specific goals. And when you shrink your inputs, your stress drops. You'll make better decisions because your mental bandwidth isn't getting chewed up by noise. Detachment. Calm inside the chaos. Transition is emotional. You'll get rejection emails. You're going to miss callbacks, and maybe even a few interviews that go nowhere. And when those hits come back to back, it's easy to spiral into frustration, anxiety, maybe even a little panic. Tactical detachment is your tool. When chaos hits, pause and ask yourself, if I were advising someone else in this exact situation, what would I tell them to do next? That little shift creates distance. It gets you out of reaction mode and puts you into decision mode. Your emotions will tell you to panic. Tactical detachment lets your strategy step in instead. Map the worst case scenarios. Most people avoid thinking about the worst case scenario because it feels scary. But when you name the fear and plan around it, you take away its power. Once a week, go back to your notebook and list the 3 or 4 things you're most worried about. What if my job search drags on? What if I pick the wrong career path? What if I burn through my savings too fast? Then, and this is the critical part, write down what you do in each situation. Build contingency plans before you need them. What you're doing is worst case mapping, and it flips anxiety into readiness. When you know exactly how you'll respond, you stay calm under pressure because you've already thought through it. Last one. Rehearse who you're becoming. One of the hardest parts of leaving the uniform is identity. For years, our role has defined us, and now we're stepping into the unknown. The mistake I see, though, over and over, is people wait until the day after they're out to start imagining who they'll be next. By then, it's too late. Start rehearsing now. Write your LinkedIn headline as if you're already in your next role. Start using the communication style, the dress code, and habits of the people in the industry you want to get into. You're training your brain to adapt before you're forced to. You don't become someone new on day one. You practice becoming them while you're still in the current role. The bottom line, if your transition is less than a year away, the chaos isn't going to disappear. You can't control the storm, but you can control your footing inside of it. Micro routines aren't about discipline just for the sake of discipline. They're about stability. Each of these is small, but together they create momentum, and momentum creates confidence, and confidence is what carries you through. Because the path is going to get messy. And remember, chaos doesn't care about your plan, but your habits will carry you through it. Build the right habits, and you'll move forward even when everything else feels stuck. Medium range group. You're 5, maybe 6 years out, maybe less. And that could feel like forever. You've got one foot in two worlds right now. You're still deep in this career, but somewhere in the back of your mind, that little voice has started whispering. What are we going to do after we're done? This is your sweet spot. You're close enough to see transition, but far enough out to effectively shape it without panicking. And that gives you leverage. The problem is, most people waste it. They keep telling themselves, I'll figure it out when I'm closer. But if you wait until the last 12 months, you're already behind. Stress testing your transition strategy now is about building options. You're not looking to lock yourself into one plan. You're preparing for multiple scenarios so that if the unexpected hits, you're not scrambling, playing catch-up. Let's break down a few ways to make sure your strategy can actually hold up under pressure. First one, build your contingency playbook. You can't predict every curveball, but you can prepare for the ones most likely to show up. Start thinking in if-then terms. If there's an organizational change which accelerates your separation, then here's how you'll pivot. If you have an injury that forces early retirement, then here's your income backup plan. If an unexpected opportunity lands in your lap, then here's how you'll decide whether to take it or not. The other side of this coin, though, it's not only about thinking about getting out. Changes or opportunities might cause you to stay in. Be thinking about those options also. This isn't about paranoia, it's about readiness. When you've thought through the top what-if scenarios, you'll eliminate panic-based decisions. The pressure might still be there, but you'll have a plan. Also, revisit this contingency plan quarterly. Every 3 months or so, ask yourself, what's changed in my organization? What's changed in the job market or my target industry? What's changed in my personal goals? Then adjust your plans before reality forces you to. Next, audit your professional reputation. You've built a reputation that people will remember long after you're gone. That reputation is going to follow you into your next career, and it will open or close doors faster than your resume ever could. So you need to consider this. If someone walked into where you work today and asked 10 people to describe you, what would they say? If your answer's, I'm not sure, that's a great starting point. Start by asking your peers, your leadership, your subordinates for honest feedback. Find out where your strengths are. But just as important, where are the gaps or your weaknesses? Then start documenting your strengths. Track successful projects, your leadership roles, and the impact you've made. However, don't ignore your weaknesses. Put enough effort to maintain your strengths, but put more effort into improving your weaknesses. Again, the goal here isn't perfection, it's clarity. You want to know exactly how you're viewed and where you need to sharpen the edges. This October 28th and 29th, the Military Officers Association of America is bringing together 3,000 voices, military leaders, warfighters, veterans, and families at National Harbor in Maryland for their inaugural conference, Total Force Plus. This isn't just another military conference. It's a mission to advance solutions for our military and veteran community, including leadership development, quality of life, military transition, and maximizing the veterans' experience. It's all on the table. This is where the next generation of military solutions will be tackled, at the first and only military conference where people outrank everything. And because the mission is so important, MOA is making attendance free for those who are currently serving, the spouses of those currently serving, and all federal employees within the DoD and VA. Secure your seat now, as tickets are limited and offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Visit TotalForcePlus.org to see if you qualify for your free ticket and to register for the conference. The next thing you need to do, establish your personal advisory board. You can't see your blind spots by yourself. None of us can. Successful transitions are built through an advisory board, long before transition happens. You want to have a small circle, 5 to 7 people, who bring diverse perspectives. A mix of your mentors, peers from other fields, and a couple connectors in industries you're interested in. Meet with them regularly, at minimum once a quarter. Be intentional. Share your goals, your plans. Also share your fears and ask for their input. Let them challenge you and your plans. Why this matters? When your transition window opens, these are the people who will connect you to opportunities. They'll offer you insights you likely won't see on your own. And additionally, these relationships will make you better in your current role too. You'll get perspective that strengthens your abilities today, not just tomorrow. Next, stress test your skills, not just your plans. People build transition strategies that sound great on paper, but never test whether their skills actually hold up in the real world. Then, when they have the shift to the transition market, they realize the demand has shifted, the language has changed, or their certifications don't carry the weight they expected. Don't wait until the end to find that out. Pick one skill each year to upgrade it or replace it. Something that will add value both now and later. And if you're wondering what skill to focus on, make sure it's transferable. Do you really need to go to another weapons skills class? Here's an extra step. Once you pick a skill, put it into play. Find opportunities inside your organization to use it. This isn't just about being competitive later. Skill building compounds. Every new capability you add today makes you more valuable where you are now and expands your options when the time comes to move on. Quarterly performance debriefs. We debrief after every operation to sharpen our readiness for the next one. Why wouldn't you do the same for your career? Every quarter, do a solo performance debrief. Ask yourself, where am I overinvested? Where are my blind spots? Which assumptions about my career or transition no longer hold true? Be brutally honest with yourself. You want to see the gaps before anyone else points them out to you. If you want to take it a step further, let someone you respect challenge your thinking and help you refine your next steps. In closing, 5 years might sound like a lot of time, but it's not. It's enough time to get prepared, but only if you start now. Stress testing your transition strategy isn't about making one perfect plan and hoping it works out. It's about creating flexibility, building options, and ensuring you're never backed into a corner. By doing these consistently, the pressure is going to drop. The uncertainty becomes manageable. You stop worrying about what's coming because you know you've already prepared for it. This isn't about predicting the future. It's about designing it, one deliberate action at a time. Long-range group. You got to build your reputation before you need it. You're at the start of your career. Maybe you've got 10, 15, 20 years before you even think about transition. In a way, it should feel like you've got nothing but time. But here's the thing nobody ever tells us, especially earlier in our careers. Transition starts today, technically yesterday, but today. Now, you don't need to have a fully mapped out plan right now. But what you need to do is understand the reputation you build today becomes the currency you're going to spend later. The way people talk about you, the projects you take on, the relationships you build, the skills you sharpen, all of it is going to compound over time. And when the day eventually comes that you step out of uniform, those investments are either going to work for you or they're going to work against you. So your focus right now isn't necessarily on exit planning. It's on positioning yourself so that you have leverage, options, and influence tomorrow. Your reputation is one of the most valuable assets you'll ever own. And the thing about it is, you're building it whether you're intentional about it or not. Every shift, every decision, every conversation adds a brick to that foundation. Here's what I want you to start doing now. Be deliberate about how you're showing up. You don't need to become the loudest in the room, but you do need to demonstrate your value consistently. That means mentoring the newbies, taking ownership of projects, and finding opportunities to add solutions instead of just pointing out problems. Start documenting your achievements. Keep a record of successful operations, leadership opportunities, even the small ones, commendations, and attaboys, or girls. You want to be stacking proof of impact, because down the road, this portfolio becomes your resume, but it also becomes the story of who you are and what you bring to the table. The mistake many of us make is we think leadership starts when we get promoted. It doesn't. Leadership is a set of behaviors, not a rank. Start acting like the person others look to when the pressure rises. Volunteer for tough assignments. Be the calm voice when the room gets loud. Handle your business consistently and professionally. When you do this over and over again over the years, you build reputation equity. People start associating you with competence, reliability, and trustworthiness. And when it's time to transition later, those are the qualities that make doors open faster than anything on your resume. But today, those qualities help you get the better assignments or promotions even faster. Next, build a network before you need it. When most people start thinking about transition, they suddenly realize they don't have the network they need. And by then, it's virtually too late. Networking under pressure feels forced and transactional. Start building relationships now, while there's no agenda. Make connections inside and outside your organization, in industries you might be curious about later, and get with people in your community as well. This doesn't mean collecting hundreds of LinkedIn connections. It means developing a trusted group of people so that you won't have to sell yourself later, because they'll already know your character, your work ethic, and your potential. So your homework is, once a quarter, whether they've reached out or not, reach out to one person outside your immediate circle. Keep the conversation simple, authentic, and focused on learning, not asking for anything. What is the grind? It's not just a routine, but the decision we make to wake up, give everything we've got, then find a way to go further. Grind, spelt GRND, is more than a brand. It's a movement, an emotion we all feel connected to as we work daily to pursue our goals and support each other. Founded by a former Army Ranger, Grind Activewear has a clear mission: to give 100% and then some more. In sport, fitness, and in life. Functional, high-quality performance wear that's rooted in American culture. Because you demand gear that outworks the rest. Whether you're on the field, in the gym, or building your own lane, Grind is for those who refuse to settle. Go check out the Grind Collective. That's thegrndcollective.com and tap into something bigger than clothing. And while you're there, use the promo code TRANSITION15 to get 15% off your purchase. The next piece of this puzzle: stay ahead of industry changes. The career you started will definitely look different in 5, 10, 15 years from now. Technology evolves. Organizations restructure. Policies shift. If you're locked into one identity, one way of working, or one narrow skill set, you're putting yourself at risk. That's why part of playing the long game is staying informed about what's changing around you. Read everything you can about industry changes. Follow the news beyond the headlines. Pay attention to policy trends or legal updates because those might impact your organization or your role. You don't need to obsess over every piece of news, but you do need to be aware. This is about adaptability. When you see change coming early, you have time to prepare for it instead of getting blindsided. Maybe you're the one who brings the new thing that's on the horizon to your leadership. That's what keeps you valuable and relevant, both where you are now and in whatever comes next. War game with leadership. Most of us never consider how new things could impact our teams, our leadership, our organizations, and we miss a huge opportunity to demonstrate strategic thinking. Whenever you have a chance, regularly preferably, sit down with your leadership and work through some what-if scenarios. Ask questions like, what happens if funding gets cut for our unit? Where are we most exposed if staffing shifts? If we were down several people, and figure out an amount that would be impactful to your situation, how would the team or the unit push forward? Not only does this make you a better teammate today, it builds your credibility with leadership. You're showing them that you think beyond your own role. You're invested in the bigger mission. You always want to be in a position of looking beyond today, seeing the entire battle space, not just your AOR, and then learning to develop contingencies. So in closing, if you're just starting your career, transition might feel like a distant problem. But tomorrow has a way of showing up faster than you think. The work you do now sets the stage for every opportunity you'll have later. Your reputation is the story people will tell about you when you're not in the room. Focus on building your leverage, your influence, and your options. Remember, careers aren't built overnight. They're built in the choices you make today, the small, consistent actions that add up over time. Okay, let's bring this episode home. Some days the weight of what's coming feels distant, might even seem invisible. Life keeps rolling, routines keep stacking, and it's easy to convince yourself there's still plenty of time. But make no mistake, the future doesn't wait for permission. At some point, plans you thought were solid start to wobble. And when they do, the decisions you make today, the habits you build, the way you lead, they're writing the story you're going to carry into the next chapter. Make no mistake, that chapter is coming. So when things get real, you want to know you've built the mindset and the tools to stand ready. That's how you adapt. That's how you stay flexible under pressure. If you stayed to this point, thank you. Staying until the end definitely helps. Helps the engagement ratings. I would really appreciate any comments you have. What I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, what's missing for you. Reach out on social media. You can send me an email. The links are all in the show notes. Something else? Please share the podcast with anyone you think could benefit from and enjoy it. And last, don't forget to sign up for the newsletter.